God damn it. So I've been staring at the super dark, super gray sky the entire day, just thinking that it would rain. Now, why is it important for it to rain? Well, I've been meaning to record a podcast while it is raining, just to kind of see how it would work in the background. And I say god damn it because it's been 6 hours of non-stop rumbling thunders, but absolutely no dice on full-blown rain. So fuck it, I'll just get down to the recording. Right then, why do I call this episode a mic dilemma? Having released a couple of podcasts now, I'm still trying to decide which of my 3 podcast mics will work best for audio recording long term. For listeners who have joined me on this journey since the very first episode, you may have noticed some audio changes over the past few weeks. This is me randomly switching up my podcast mics. And well, I was traveling as well, so I had to use different mics. So what are these 3 mics? I've got an original classic Blue Yeti in white. Not that the color matters, but hey, I like describing stuff that I own. The Blue Yeti Nano in blue, and the classic Samsung Q2U in black. All of them are scattered strategically around my room. How strategic? Well, one time a friend visited me and basically said, "What the hell?" when he saw the setup in my room. There are 3 laptops, one for gaming, one for work, and one to act as a gaming server of sorts, an iPad, 2 massive monitors, 3 external keyboards, headsets everywhere, and of course, my 3 mics. Oh, not forgetting to mention the professional military-grade light setup that I have for video recordings and the 2 external webcams. My friend literally asked if what he was seeing was my bedroom, or a broadcasting studio, or a gamer's paradise. Honestly, probably all of the above. It kind of makes for one squishy room. Each of these 3 mics has its own story. The Samsung Q2U came first. This was back during COVID when I was broke, and unfortunately still am, but needed something better than just a pair of mic-enabled earphones. At the time, I was launching my first ever podcast, which was going to be for an up-and-coming global investment startup. So yeah, I truly needed something professional. At least that was my excuse when I first bought the Q2U. After quite a bit of research, I decided that the Q2U was the perfect middle ground. Dynamic mic, reasonably priced, and just so classic looking. Classic in the way that, well, I love to sing, so there you go. If you haven't already gotten the reference, it actually literally looks like a KTV mic. Even today, the Q2U remains close to my heart. Every time I chat with friends, interviewers, or whoever at my desk and I use my Q2U, people always tell me things like, "Oh damn, that's a really cool setup," or "Wow, are you a professional podcaster or something?" And then I go, "Yes indeed, indeed I am." Oh, by the way, there are generally 2 kinds of mics. I mentioned dynamic for the Q2U. Dynamic mics are best suited for solo podcasting. It cuts out background noise, but you have to be up close to the mic to capture better quality. Whereas condenser mics, they work best if you have to interview someone in the same room or multiple people, but you require a bit more distance between the mic and your guests. That's the simplest layman description I can give. Then came the Blue Yeti, a condenser type mic. I was graduating from the MBA program and thought that I'd treat myself. At the time, I was looking at potentially interviewing multiple people. The Q2U wouldn't have cut it. And I came across the Yeti. So sleek, so professional, it just looked like an epic upgrade. I loved it. But when I started to bring the Yeti around to do multi-person recordings, I found that it was heavy and cumbersome as hell. Oh yeah, funny story. I traveled out of town with the original Yeti and I was stopped by TSA during security checks. The agent helped me for about 10 minutes while scanning the mic over and over again because he thought it looked suspicious. I was like, "Yo, it's a mic, nothing malicious." Worse still, the TSA agent told me that he initially thought, and really there's no other way to put it, that the Blue Yeti was a massive sex toy. I guess I got a higher quality mic, but less convenience and I guess more amusement. Then, more recently, the Blue Yeti Nano. I was planning on traveling overseas for a couple of weeks during the time I decided to launch this podcast, and I wanted something that I could easily toss into a backpack that wouldn't add excessive weight. And I didn't want a repeat of the TSA fiasco. The Nano was exactly that: plug and play, compact and reasonably light, and not obtrusive. Now, with all three in front of me, the question remains: which one do I use as my main? Anyway, I call this a dilemma, but really it isn't. I'm spoiled for choice, is what it is. And likely, that's what you're thinking as well. Yeah, I agree. It's weird. The more options we have in life, the harder it is for us to actually focus and finally make a decision on something. But that being said, yeah, at least I have options. There are those who actually want to use a professional mic, but are relegated to a pair of mic enabled earphones to save on cost. I have three mic options. I'll continue to play around with these mics. Moving forward, some episodes you'll hear the Q2U, others the Yeti, and on occasion, maybe even the Nano for when I record outside my home. Ideally, all of this will happen around the same timings. I usually record after 10 p.m. when the noise traffic dies down. You may hear a different mic quality every so often. A bit of trial and error, I guess, until I find something that eventually sticks. Or maybe I just strike it rich, right? Get some $100 million Spotify deal and then I can afford a more expensive mic. Who knows? Anyway, I'll be sharing some links in the description in the show notes on these three mics: the Q2U, the Yeti, and the Yeti Nano. If you are a podcaster, tell me, do you use any of these three mics? Or something else entirely? Also, if you're planning to go into podcasting and are considering a new mic, feel free to reach out. I'd love to dive deep with you on my thoughts on these three mics.